The current date is February of 2023. Welcome to the Time Capsule Podcast, where every episode is like its own little time capsule. We are leaving these recordings here and won't be touching them for 20 years, but you can listen whenever and wherever you like. Here we go.
Welcome, everybody, to our February episode of the Time Capsule Podcast.
Hey.
Wow, I didn't even introduce you yet. Jeez. Well, the person who just rudely interrupted me is Jake. You guys may be as excited as we
you
are.
Stop talking.
You just interrupted me again.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that one.
That weird laughter you hear in the background is David.
He's finally back, everyone.
He's back with us again. So we are grateful for him for making it.
Glad to be here.
Jury's still out on whether or not he's back in black because his camera's not working this time around. So.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
Last I checked, he wasn't black, so...
That is not what I meant, you absolute racist.
That's not racist.
Well, I got news for you guys. No, okay.
Oh, goodness. It's good to be back with all three of us.
Yes, this is wonderful. Before we even get into small talk, let me ask you, Brian, did you listen to It's a Long Way to the Top, If You Want to Rock and Roll?
No, okay, so I listened when I was editing the last episode, and I went to that spot specifically because I wanted to remember what song it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard it, and then I finished editing it, and by the time I was done, I had completely forgotten.
So you are making excuses.
Exactly, but I did not remember until just this moment.
Dude, it was the weirdest thing. I went there. I made sure I knew the name of it, and then I just stopped caring. I didn't. No.
So it's called All the Way to the Top.
Don't listen to it now.
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
I'm not listening. I'm not listening to it now. I'm queuing it up in my Spotify, so when I get back into the car later, I can play.
There you go.
You'll probably
That's the
just
way to do it.
You'll be like, oh, what is this?
And there are a couple things I want to bring up in small talk that I meant to bring up last episode in small talk, but they just kind of got away from me. But there's no doubt that they would have contextually made more sense to bring up last month. But I'm going to talk about them anyway. So, first of all, you guys know the old abandoned Kmart that's like near where I live?
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
they finally tore it down.
I saw that the other day. Yeah.
The building is no more.
The lot it doesn't even exist.
They also tore down the Pegas. There used to be an IHOP, and they're raising the level of the parking lot, and they're going to put in a big old development with restaurants, shops, and an apartment building.
It's going to be cool.
So like a little strip mall sort of thing?
But you know what else is still there?
No, it's not a strip mall. Like, there's going to be a giant apartment building, and then there's going to be, like, just a handful of shops sprinkled in front of it between the building and the main road.
You know what's still there?
Okay.
The Krispy Kreme is still there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all that matters.
So nice being right by the donut shop.
I just said IHOP, dude.
We actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Jake, we finally finished our musical that we started in November, finally, after a very long process. That's over, so that's a big relief.
Wow.
But we went to the Shake Shack, or the Steak and Shake that's like down the road from where you live, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was carpooling some people with us, and we drove past and I was like, my friend lives there.
Brian, go ahead and bleep that out for me.
Yeah, we drove past and then...
Okay, by the way, so the last episode, David, I don't know if you listened to it or not, but
why would I? That defeats the purpose.
Oh, you're right. That's my bad.
No, I didn't listen to it.
I would give him the pass since he wasn't in that one.
I get the pass?
Just one time, though. Only once.
Not that pass, David. No, so I mentioned a couple times a specific location that I was going to next month, and so I cut it out, but I was trying to find an actual, like, bleep sound, and I scoured for, like, an hour online trying to find the proper censoring sound, and I could not find anything. Like, not one, at least I didn't have to, like, pay for an entire account for some website for it.
I have just the site for you.
I will say this because it's going to add a couple extra straps in, but I think it might be worth it depending on whether or not you're willing to do it. there's a video editing program called Shotcut, and that's what I use to edit all our videos on the YouTube channel. And
Okay.
it's free. And what you can do is you can either open files into the program, or you can open. The button is called Open Other, and under that button you can open an audio tone, and you can pick the frequency, and then you can determine how long it is. And usually the default frequency, I can't remember what the frequency is off the top of my head, but it's that perfect like bleep sound that you would hear on like TV. So obviously what you would have to do is you'd have to open that and then save the. I don't know if you can. I bet there's a way to save the video as an MP3, or if there's not, save it as an MP4 and then convert it to an MP3. Again, that's a lot of extra steps, but considering you can fully customize the frequency and therefore the pitch, I would argue that it's worth it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I might try that.
Especially if you're if you wanted to get into video editing at all.
Yeah, not for this episode, but I might do that for future episodes in case we do mention stuff that needs to be bleeped out. But anyways, yeah, I just had to cut that out of the recording entirely last episode. So
round.
There are a couple points where it's just like I'm talking and then there's like a couple seconds of silence, and then I start talking again, and it sounds really weird.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. At least you're acknowledging that.
Yeah. No, it was very difficult to get that to sound right. But I was
Did
like,
you search YouTube for a bleep?
no.
There's a whole metric butt ton of sound effects.
There is a myriad of videos that you could just grab any sound effect you want and just.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I often neglect YouTube when it comes to stuff like that because I keep forgetting I can download stuff from there.
Yeah, you'd be surprised the kind of tool you can turn YouTube in with a good video downloader, especially if said downloader has built-in file customization where you can just download it as an MP3. That's good stuff. And real quick, the other thing I wanted to bring up, I wanted to talk about this somewhere because I've had this like rolling around in my mind and I haven't had really anyone to talk to it about other than my family, but they like watch it happen in real time, so it wouldn't make sense to keep talking to them about it. But let me ask you, how often do you guys get fast food?
Every now and again.
Like, yeah, Brian, would you say multiple times a week?
Oh yeah, for sure.
David, what about you? Like maybe once a week?
Yeah.
Okay, that's about where I am. I'm probably like between you two, I say. And so this like kind of inner conflict I always have when I'm getting fast food is like about drinking soda, right? Because no matter what kind of soda you get, it's going to be it's unhealthy in some way, shape, or form. Some are like not quite as bad as others, but either way, they pack a pretty heavy punch to your health. Nutritionally and dietarily speaking. But I've had a revelation recently. Where
drink
applicable,
water?
No, okay, but like when you pay for the meal, no, listen, water is free in most places, and if you pay for the combo meal and you get water with it, you kind of feel like you're wasting the drink cup. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, that's
no.
You're right.
I wanted to like balance trying to have a drink that didn't slowly kill me from the inside because it's pretty much acid, and not wasting money on a meal cup. And I've been getting Powerade.
Segue.
What?
Said here comes the ad segue.
No. I want to be clear, I'm not sponsored, but I've been getting Powerade where applicable. And granted, it's not available everywhere because it's a Coca-Cola product. But when you can get it, man, does it hit the spot. This episode brought to you, but no, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
hashtag not sponsored.
Why don't you just get like tea? Like most places have tea.
I'm not a like a cold tea guy. I prefer my tea warm.
Tell me to put it in the microwave.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm wondering, with the way you said that, have you never had Powerade until recently?
No. I have before, but I never thought about it in like, oh, I'll get it with my burger. And it's also until the advent, I guess, for lack of a better word, of the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine, it's not been easily and as widely available in fast food restaurants as it is now.
That's true.
Yeah, and I want to point out, especially even today, blue Powerade is like super rare and hard to find. I think I've only been able to find it consistently at Chick-fil-A. But like everywhere else you go, they're like, oh no, we're out of blue.
I like Powerade not because it's like any healthier than soda or anything, but just because it's non-carbonated, and sometimes carbonation I don't feel like burning my throat.
A fun fact
So-
about drinking carbonated drinks with food is that actually prohibits the digestion properly of the food that you're eating. So it's just one more thing about soda that's not good about getting it with your meal.
Oh, that's
Ah.
interesting.
So maybe our cooking episodes really shouldn't have as much soda in them.
Maybe not.
At the
But what's really interesting to me is I kind of basically started doing that at the beginning of this year. I didn't plan for it to be any sort of New Year's resolution, but that's just kind of when I started doing it. And today at work they had a mandatory meeting, company wide, and to like compensate for the fact that our time out of our day was being taken, they gave us free pizza and soda, and so it was like the smaller bottles, right? It wasn't the full size whatever bottles. But I grabbed a bottle of Coke, and I'm this is probably partly because it was room temperature and not cold, but I drank it and I was like, man, I didn't realize how unappealing soda is, taste wise. Like I used to love the taste of Coca-Cola, but I was like, wow, this is just kind of okay. And I think that's mainly because I just haven't really had it in so long.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper for me is like, it's one of those things. I love Dr. Pepper, but I don't drink it as often as I used to. And so it's like I'll drink all other sodas, but for some reason Dr. Pepper, the carbonation feels so much stronger in that one than it does in other drinks. And so I'll be drinking like root beer or like other, slightly carbonated drinks, and then I'll drink Dr. Pepper and it like burns my throat as it goes down. I'm like, ah, jeez, I got to get something else.
Yeah, I get it, man. Anyway,
Um,
onto the real small talk that's been for this month.
Oh yeah.
How are you guys doing? David, it's
well-
been a while. What's new in your life, my lad?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just schooling, and the musical's finally over, like I mentioned a
Congratulations
little
on
earlier.
that, by the way.
Thank you. It
Is
was
that the last
it was
one of the
an
year?
That is my last. Yeah, the last one of the year and my last one at high school. So it was.
Dang, dude.
nice.
Must have been a
Went out
bittersweet
with
moment.
It was. There was some. For lack of a better word, I'm gonna say controversy, kind of within the cast, but that's okay. I don't need to talk about that because you guys wouldn't understand. But
Drama alert.
yeah, I don't know if you guys knew it, but I got another cat when I guess I inherited a cat, I suppose. Not too long, like a couple months ago, back in like October, and that cat recently had to be put down, so that was not
Oh man,
the best.
I'm sorry.
best time. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's life.
never
it happens,
easy.
but no.
It's a circle of life.
So that's basically everything that's going on with me. I got a motorcycle endorsement, so that was cool.
What's that mean?
It's
Yeah, for what?
for my motorcycle.
Well, obviously, but like
It's like a the look on your face.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase the question.
It's essentially just think of it as a license.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
wait,
So
were you not already licensed to drive it though?
yeah, that's all that's really been happening in my life. Yeah.
Avoiding the question.
I, for legal reasons, have always been legally allowed to ride my motorcycle on the road.
Wow.
Oh, that's
You know
funny.
what? I didn't even think about the fact that you. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I never thought about that.
I didn't
Exactly.
realize they called it endorsement either. You know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly why they call it that. I call it an endorsement because technically you can't get a full complete motorcycle license until you're 21. So, but like, I went to the DMV and I just recently shaved, so I'm back to babyface me. You know, kind of looking like Brian right now with just kind of the scruff. But I went in there and I was like, "Hey, I'd like to get a motorcycle license." And the lady looked at me with just like disgust and was like, "How old are you?" And I was like, 18. And she was like, Okay. So she was like, we're going to give you an endorsement but I looked it up. It's classified as a Class M motorcycle endorsement, which is essentially, I don't know. It doesn't mean anything. I have all the same things that I could do with like a full license. So it's just like, you're not 21 yet, basically, is what it says.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, what's the difference? Like, it's not like they can make you have a passenger on your bike, because it's a little harder to do than with the car.
Yeah, so I don't know. But
I'm also
yeah.
just imagining, like, you know how in driving school you've got the student driver at the wheel, and then the instructor's in the passenger seat. He's like, okay, turn left. I'm just imagining he's like behind you. He's got his hands around you, and he's, all right, turn left here.
Yeah, not to. Yeah, I don't know how that would work. So I don't know if it's till I'm 21 or if I've had the endorsement for like a full year, but I don't know the exact like legal ways it works. But yeah, that happened.
Cool. I got a couple things. Well, number one, I finally finished my certification for
forklifts.
Honda, so. No, I wish. No, no, for Honda. So, I mean, again, it's like one of those things. Like, for legal reasons, I've been certified this whole time. But yeah, I finally finished that, and I'm one step closer to being a B-Tech, which is more advanced stuff.
Just got the Honda merch on right now.
Well, it just came for work, so that's why.
That makes sense.
And then the other big thing is I'm now engaged.
Heyo!
Congratulations, my dude.
Let's go.
How very exciting.
Clap. Proud of you, man. Congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, no. A beautiful woman named Riley.
Mm.
Last name redacted.
Riley, bleep!
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think we all know what it's going to be soon, though. Am I right?
Am I right?
6 months, man. But no, yeah, I've been wedding planning the last couple
I've
weeks.
been wetting the bed for the past couple weeks.
Bro, I am so stressed out and tired right now.
I'm sorry,
Dude,
man.
I know it would help if you vlogged and documented your whole journey. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
And then
No, dude, we are experiencing so many problems and stuff. I mean, not with just plans not working out, but like family and friend issues. It's just it's very very difficult to plan a wedding. So
I feel like that's the one
yeah.
part, if anything, I would ever dread about having my own wedding, like getting married. It's like the planning part.
I'd elope, to be honest.
Some days are fun, like going to stores and just like scanning stuff to put on the registry is fun. Because I mean, you're just looking at stuff that you want for your house and scanning and be like, okay, somebody else will buy this for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are other times where you're sitting down like trying to figure out, okay, how much is this going to cost? How much is this going to cost? Who's paying for this? It's a nightmare.
Oh wait,
some of it's fun, some of it's a nightmare.
That's another good question. Have you guys like found a place?
Well, we're getting married at the church.
No, to live.
Oh, to live? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's
Like she's not moving into your mom's basement, is she?
No, gosh, no. So we found an apartment that it looked okay. The reviews were pretty good. But we went by there the other day to go take like a tour of one, and they were closed, which the website said they were open. So I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll try to go back again and get a tour of it. But
Where's
the
it
reviews
at?
online, I'm not.
Don't
it's
don't
at
put
it's
the-
at redacted.
Yeah, just put like the city. You don't have to give the whole address.
Well, I'll say it's down it's like within walking distance from my work.
Is that
okay.
still an OP? Like, you know.
No,
looking for
it
context here.
that qualifies as Olathe.
Okay, all right.
Valid.
Solid,
Yeah,
man. Olathe.
Yeah, I hope it works. I hope it works out. Okay, I hope they're all right. Yeah, it's just trying to figure out finances and stuff is a pain in the butt.
Oh
Yes.
well,
Speaking of finances, I just bought a new car. So
dang.
there's that. Yeah.
The Toyota is gone.
Upgrade, baby.
Well,
no,
it's still a
he has
Toyota
a
Camry, but it's an 09 now instead of a 94.
Oh well, congratulations! You
He
moved up a couple of years.
Yeah, I was gonna say upgraded. What?
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah. No,
No,
because I got in a wreck
15
and then we
years.
like put it back together, but it looked beat up and ugly, but it still worked. And then like 2 weeks later, it died. So.
So wait, you said you went from 94 to a 09?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
15 years.
Oh wow.
95, 96,
And you could. It just
David's counting on it.
feels. It feels. Bigger
I can confirm. I did the math.
beautiful.
It checks out.
Like the radio has this really cool like night glow function, where so you can see all the dials and the buttons at night,
Wow.
and it's so
Welcome
much
to the
more
future.
fuel
Yeah,
efficient.
welcome to the future.
And for the first time ever, I have a functional fob on my key, so I can unlock it with the button instead of shoving the key in the keyhole on the door.
Dude, my fob doesn't work, and there's no way I can get it to work.
You guys have
So-
fobs for
rip.
your vehicle? Yeah, every time I walk up to my motorcycle, I click a button to unlock the door, and then I... Actually, speaking of that, I was... I also have been... I don't know if you guys knew, but I've been driving around a Volkswagen Beetle for a while.
Oh, you got a bug?
Inherited from a family member. But, so, I've been toting that around, just kind of, having a great time with it. Fun little car to be in. But
What year is it?
I want to say it's a 10. So it's pretty solid. It's fun. But
What color?
it's like a goldish kind of color, and it's
Oh,
convertible
that's
too.
kind of my car, golden brown.
Yeah, it's convertible too, which is awesome.
Oh, mine's not convertible.
I don't think they make Corollas convertibles. But anyways,
Camry.
Camry, my bad, my
Even less likely
apologies.
to- I will say,
Yeah.
I used to have a sunroof in my '94, and I don't now, and it made me a little sad.
But because of legal reasons, the law firm actually has to take it back for a little bit.
Oh.
So, to get like the title and everything sorted out for like
For legal
my mom.
reasons, I have not been driving the car.
For legal reasons, that car is no longer in my possession, and I had to ride my bike to school today in like the 15-degree weather that we experienced this morning.
Oh, ripperoni, my guy.
7 a.m. So it was.
That's the main thing stopping me from getting a motorcycle is like that, and the fact that there's nothing to protect you if you get in a wreck.
If we lived in an area that was just maybe like a little more like not like warmer year round, it would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
like me, I'm crazy, so I don't care.
My mind always goes to that Sean Spencer quote, and Psych. He's talking to Juliet about having a motorcycle. He's like, Juliet, getting a motorcycle is the best decision I ever made. No one asks me for a ride. They certainly don't ask me to help them move, and I never have to take anyone to the airport. But you're making me want a minivan.
I love that episode.
I
It's one of my
actually-
favorite episodes.
Classic.
Purposely tried to ride I purposefully rode my bike to the last day of our show, the last show that we had at school, because we'd be going to eat, and then we'd be going to the cast party afterwards. So
You
I
didn't want to
didn't
drive anybody.
I didn't have to give anybody a ride. I also just wanted to ride it, so that helped.
Oh man.
I don't want to ruin this for you, David, but you said you drive like a gold Volkswagen Bug, or at least you did.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy drove a tan Volkswagen Bug.
Oh,
Yeah.
real bring down this guy. Oh my god.
I'm well aware of what Mr. Bundy drove. It doesn't I'm not kidnapping and killing
Way to
anybody.
kill the mood, Brian.
I get it. Kill.
the
Anyways,
mood.
anyways,
Yeah,
let's
that's funny.
move right along.
Yeah, let's get into the bulk of this episode.
Well, I just wanted to
Oh my
drop
God,
one
Jake.
final
Oh,
thing.
dude.
Every time.
You
We are
listen,
on
you
a
never
schedule,
let me
you know?
finish. You're always like, well, let's move on before I have a chance to say.
Because
it.
we were
you know
just
why?
talking about a serial killer.
Yeah,
because
that's his
you
fault
never
too.
finished, Jake.
That is
you
his
never
fault too.
finish.
Listen, you got to bring up your news that you teased last episode. I think it's only fair that I get to do mine. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you brought that up.
No, I didn't. So I mentioned I was working on something, and I'm ready to finally bring it to light. I am now officially a Ghostbuster.
What?
That's right, they're
What?
real. Well, ghosts aren't, but not at least not the way they appear in the movies. But
Oh, so you're scamming people for money then?
No. Just listen to me, okay? I am a part of a group called the Midland Empire Ghostbusters, and they're a charity organization that cosplays as Ghostbusters, and they'll go around and they'll come to your events, and we don't charge you, but we do accept donations.
That's
And
awesome.
like we even do
Gotcha,
stuff
gotcha.
like hospital visits, where we'll come and we'll visit you, in the hospital.
When you're spawn camping ghosts.
That's exactly what someone else said while we were all together in like Taco Bell waiting for our food. He's like, "So you guys do hospital visits?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Isn't that spawn camping?" and then one of the guys was like, "Shh,
That's amazing.
don't ruin the surprise." But it's really cool. Like I had to buy my own flight suit and patches, but and as of right now, I'm just borrowing another person's proton packs. But they look insane. Like there's some really good detail, and like they're really dedicated to like in the mod community. They'll modify their proton packs and make them look more realistic. It's awesome.
Is that what's up with like the actual like Ghostbusters car that I see driving around this area?
Yeah. There's like 3 or 4 people in the group that have cars that are decked out to look like the Ecto-1, and
Yeah.
that is what you're seeing.
I've seen a couple of them, and I'm always like, "We gonna go?" And to myself as I like ride
Yeah.
past them.
Yeah, they actually are.
Yeah, you're like, who are
outfitted
you gonna
with
call? And you
sirens
laugh
and
silently to
loudspeakers.
yourself.
Yeah, basically.
It sucks is that like, even though they're pretty clearly not law enforcement, you can't just drive around with sirens and lights flashing around if you're not a
Right.
cop. But recently there was an event at the Nebraska Furniture Mart called Countdown to Planet Comic-Con where they hosted a cosplay competition, and so like they invited cosplayers to come hang out, and I went and I rode in one of our Ecto-1 cars to the parking lot, and then we parked it like in front of the doors on the sidewalk, and we
That's
got
awesome.
to turn on the lights and the siren as we drove up.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it's great watching people like people's heads turn and they're like, "Whoa, it's the freaking Ecto-1, bro!"
It's the Ghostbusters. There's ghosts here.
Yeah. all right. Now let's get into the main episode.
Real quick before. No, I'm kidding. Let's go.
Bro, I was about to reach
You're
through the
stealing my
screen.
bit. Hey, I have one
No,
more
I'm
thing.
ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's Jake's thing to make us late.
Listen, I'm just doing it. Wait, hold on a second. That is not true, sir. I'll have you know, you were the last one to get into this Discord call tonight. Okay.
I mean, at least I joined and didn't skip out on this.
I
one.
was here.
Oh,
I
sad.
was busy. I have a life. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Listen,
believe me,
I
so
don't know
do
why
I.
you don't like my Tim Cook impressions. All right, there's just one more thing.
So, this
Okay,
episode.
Hold on, I'm not gonna lie, dude. That cut out right as you were saying that, and I'm so glad I missed it.
Oh.
I had to suffer through, Brian. You're the
Well,
lucky
you
one.
have to suffer through in the editing room, so ha. Ha
That's
ha,
very true.
future Brian, if you're hearing this while you're editing, get wrecked.
I'll insert a future Brian note and be like, I hate this.
Future Brian here, help me. Hey, future Jake here. I'm actually the one editing this episode, and I guess Brian got off lucky this time, but we'll see for the next round later. I want to
Okay, yeah. Let's launch into the actual main bulk of this episode. Poop.
Yes, you've undoubtedly seen the title by now, and you still clicked on it for whatever reason. So here it is: poop. Remember the word poop. People order our podcast.
What?
Please open our podcast.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that.
Please observe our podcast.
What's a word for listen that starts with O?
I don't know. I don't know that there is
I don't
one.
know.
If there is one, leave it in the comments.
Synonyms. Or yeah, let's let the listeners decide. Anyways, today we are discussing our grossest poop stories.
They don't have to be grossest. They're just
They
poop
just-
stories.
Well, you're talking about poop here. It's gonna be gross.
Yeah, fair. You know what? Should we mark this as explicit?
Yeah, probably.
We're only talking about a normal function of the human body.
It's like, don't worry, there's
Everyone
nothing
does.
like vulgar in here. We're just discussing human fecal matter, so.
All right.
it's
Well,
okay.
I'll tell you what. Content warning. We're talking about poop.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
you know
I'll
what?
put
You've
that
been
in the-
warned, and I'll put it. We'll
I won't
put it in
mark
the
it as-
descriptions as well.
Yeah, I won't mark it as explicit, but I'll put it in the description.
Okay. All right. So who would like to go first?
I'll take the charge this time. I'll go
Okay.
first. So, it all started back when I was what grade was I in? Maybe
Do
like
you guys have titles, by the way? I think this would be great stories to have titles for.
I do not. Let me think
Okay.
of. Let me think of it. Let me see if I can. I don't have any titles. If I could come up with
Oh.
one on the fly, I would.
You know what? Yeah. I like that idea. Coming up with titles.
Yeah.
All right. So how about this? We'll tell the story, and then we'll throw out if you can come up with a title for it. Throw it out. If not, once you tell the story, we'll decide what the title should be.
Okay. I mean, I already have titles for mine, but you can also
Oh.
throw in suggestions.
What should we like timestamp them?
I think that'd be a little too difficult. I don't want to like be sitting there for 3 more hours than is necessary during the upload to YouTube stage of the episode. Anyway,
yeah.
if you're
Anyway,
David, continue, David.
Yeah.
all right. So that all started back when I was a young lad, maybe somewhere in the 4th to 6th grade range, I'd reckon. And believe it or not, this story takes place at our church. I don't know if it was like a Wednesday night or if it was like a Sunday night or whatever, but I had to go to the bathroom like so bad. Like my intestines were just wrecked. I don't even know what I ate, but it was one of those like anyway, it was bad. So I like run to the bathroom and I like get in there and I'm like I got in there into the stall, I locked it and I said, I'm too late. it was too late. I sat down and I sat down and released what needed to be released, what was left to be released, and I looked down at my underwear, and it was the inside of it was there was green splotches and blobs all inside my
man.
underwear. So I did what any sensible child would do, and I wiped it up with the toilet paper that was available to me. But the bottom of it was still like covered in like green crap.
greasies, if you will.
Yeah. So
Greasy.
so I was like, I'm not putting this back on. So for the rest of the service, I had no underwear on. What's worse is I balled up my underwear and put it in my pocket.
Oh,
And just had it in there.
I have no doubt that you smelled
festering.
horrible.
I went
Dang,
home.
man.
Nasty.
I went home. I disposed of the evidence and swore never again.
Oh, that's so gross.
What did you say you ate?
I
Or do
don't
you
know.
remember? Okay.
If I could remember, I would gladly share.
Oh, that's nasty.
Oh,
So
man.
all right. So my first one, I just thought of this as Jake was talking about titles.
Wait, yeah, hold on. What's
Um,
David's titled? My pitch is just Greasies.
Greasies.
Or The Greasies.
What do you say you were at church, right?
Yeah.
Holy
I
crap.
feel like
No.
holy crap. Dude, that's beautiful.
I like that. That's good, Jake. Good job.
I like that a lot. Holy crap. Okay, so my title is Incredible Pizza, and that's like it's as in like toilet bowl.
Incredible.
Yeah, because it did happen at Incredible Pizza. But it
That
was
was-
years ago.
Okay.
It was years and years ago.
Were you down in Texas then? Because, like, there hasn't been an Incredible Pizza up here for that long.
No, it was definitely up here because I remember. No, actually, it was in Texas. Never mind.
was
I
gonna
had a
say,
friend with me.
I'm pretty sure that's where that chain originated, and the one that's here only was here, I think, like, right after the pandemic hit, I think. Or, like, right around that time. Thereabouts.
Yeah,
That would make sense.
yeah,
Why
it-
I was like, where did this random pizza chain come from?
yeah. I think it was in Texas, but anyway, so we went bowling there, and I had a friend with me. And by the way, this poop story didn't happen to me. Okay, it wasn't me that pooped.
But you were a direct witness.
Yes,
In a way.
of sorts. I didn't witness somebody pooping.
He was
I
in
witnessed
the. He was in the.
I witnessed the aftermath of the pooping.
He was a fly on the wall.
So I we were bowling like normal, and then my friend went to the bathroom, and he came back, and he was like, "Dude, that bathroom is so disgusting. He's like, that I could smell poop and I could see poop in the stall next to me. And I was like, that's gross. So me being a little kid naturally was like, ooh, poop. I'm gonna go check it out. And I wasn't prepared for what I saw. Okay, I walked in there, and like the floor of the pizza place is carpeted. 1 second, somebody's knocking on my door. Go away! I'm recording. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mom. That's messed up.
Did you mute your mic?
No, I didn't mute my mic. That's
Okay,
in the
good.
recording.
So everyone's gonna hear that.
I'm
It's not just
leaving
gonna
that
be
in.
silence, followed by me and David laughing really hard.
Anyway, so the pizza place was carpeted. Okay.
Wait, what did you just say?
The pizza place.
Not
It
the
was
bathroom,
carpeted.
though, right?
No, the bathroom was not carpeted.
Okay, thank God.
But
I was like,
Jeez.
oh my gosh, dude.
the pizza place was carpeted, and as I'm walking up to the bathroom, I see little brown footprints on the carpet.
Nah.
So I walk around the wall, and I can see footprints of poop leading from
They
the
didn't track
carpet.
all the way back to your lane, though, did they?
It wasn't our group. It was some
Oh,
other
okay.
kid. But yeah, I could see little footprints just covered in poop from the stall in the very back all the way throughout the carpet. And I was like, this is disgusting. So I walked back there, and there's poop on the handle next to the toilet. There's poop in the toilet, on the toilet seat, and there's a little tiny pair of whitey tidies with a giant dump sitting in it on the floor. And I was like, first of all, this kid just walked out of here with no underwear on.
Hey, man.
And he's covered
Sometimes,
in poop.
listen, what do you see his options? It was
Also, I was a kid at this time. I don't remember how old I was. I was a kid. I was young. And this pair of underwear was slightly smaller than my size. So this is a really little kid. I'm thinking, how in the heck did he take such a large poop?
Hey, man.
Like, where did he get all of this crap?
Right, it's a wonder how that works, you know?
If you remember-
I'm imagining it was pent up, building in his body for, like, days.
Hey, man.
It was gross
If you
either way.
recall, I don't know if you'll talk about your KYMCA story, Jake, but that child too had a shockingly large.
Yes, that's actually
Excretion.
about what I'm about to talk about.
Okay, I didn't know if you were. So I'll. All right.
What did
That's-
you say that one was called, Brian?
Incredible pizza.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I called this one the poop explosion. Even though it wasn't necessarily an explosion of the traditional sense. It was as though there had been an explosion. Let's put it that way. So I already told the story on the podcast once, but it was like right at the end cap to an episode. So I feel as though I rushed through it. So I wanted to tell it a little more thoroughly this time. So I used to work for the YMCA, and it was in their child care department, specifically in the before and after school daycare. So the 1 hour ish before school starts, you come and you drop your kid off so you can make it to work on time, and then they go straight from there to their class at school. And then as late as 6 o'clock after school, depending on how late you work. And every time, for that specific program, it's hosted right there in the school building. And during breaks from school, including like winter and spring, which are shorter, but also summer, we still are in the school buildings, and we host like a daycare for kids whose both parents still have to work and can't stay home. Anyway, during the summer we do day camp, so we're there 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and we do all different activities on different days of the week. It's usually like every Tuesday and Thursday we go down to the municipal swimming pool, and they get to swim around in a giant toilet. And then like every Wednesday or every other Wednesday we'll take a field trip to somewhere cool, like the arboretum. Is that the word? The like botanical garden.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. And so one day we're coming back from the pool, and everyone's in their swimming trunks / suits. If you're a girl, you got to have the whole one piece to cover all of your body. And where every time we like go somewhere, when we get there, we go to the bathroom, and then we get back. We have everyone go to the bathroom. So everyone's lined up and going to the bathroom, and it's toward the end of the line. Like the line, there's only like three or so boys left, and one kid comes out of the boys' room and he's like, Mr. Jake, I think I kind of made a mess back there. I kind of missed, and I was like,
What do you
what
do you mean by
exactly does that mean? And he's like, yeah, well, I was pooping and kind of didn't get it all in the toilet or something along those lines. So I grabbed another staff member. I think he was like the camp director, and I was like, listen, this kid is like saying things that are making me very worried. And he's like, all right, you need to stand at the doorway to the bathroom, and I'm gonna make my way all the way in. That way I can maintain the visual on him, and I'm acting as his witness to confirm that he didn't do anything he shouldn't be doing in a children's bathroom. So he enters into the it's like the stall all the way in the back. It's a handicap stall, and he enters in there with the kid who's got poop on his legs, and he's also taking his shoes off at this point.
You left out that part.
He was just in the pool. Yeah. There's poop on his legs. I didn't let him get very far out of the bathroom, and there's poop on the floor from what I can see. And according to the camp director, there was poop on the wall and on and in the toilet. And so I'm standing like pretty much as far away as you could stand from that stall while still being in the bathroom. And at one point, I like crashed down to look under the stall out of curiosity. And let me be clear, this is after the kid had exited the stall. After this camp director guy, he was a freaking saint. He sat there and he wiped the kid down, helped him wipe his butt, and then like reclothed him with clean clothes. What a trooper, a pooper trooper, if you will. And so I bent down, and I could just see under the stall this like it was at least softball sized ball of poop, just sitting there on the floor. Next to, not even that close to the toilet, actually. It was at least a foot and a half away from the toilet. Like, we're talking closer to the door than the toilet. It was
so
and the smell, man. Let me tell you what, you could. I had to sit there suffering. Obviously, it was nothing compared to what that guy had to go through. But I was sitting there, suffering in the smell as I bore witness and made sure this guy didn't do anything wrong. I trusted him, but it's legal reasons,
yeah.
if you will. And eventually we got that all cleaned up, and then the janitor came up and he put this like accordion wall over that bathroom, and I took a piece of paper and I wrote "Biohazard, do not enter," and I taped it on the wall. That might have been a step too far. I will concede, but still funny.
That's wild.
That's gross.
Yeah.
For that to happen, to experience, I cannot even comprehend that in my mind's eye.
Sure glad I'm not that kid. Yeah, apparently he pooped himself. I got the story from my camp director after the fact, and he pooped himself, and then he obviously that ball, most of it had hit the floor, but he got some of it in the toilet, but then he was panicking and stepping all around in the bathroom and in the poop and getting it everywhere as he touched things. Not
Did
good.
he slip and fall and
I wouldn't be surprised. It's a little
He
bit
lands on the poop and it splatters everywhere.
Oh gosh.
That's awful. God.
Why are we doing this episode again?
I thought it would be funny, but I'm just sad. No.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
all right, David, back to you.
Back to me. All right. I'm trying to think of a name for this one. Oh man, let's call it.
Just hit us with it, and we'll brainstorm it.
All right. So this one, I believe you two were actually a present for this story, but so I hope neither of you are going to talk about it because that'd be real awkward. But anyways,
Is it a church?
No, but that is a good one.
I figured mentioned that at least once.
Yeah, I figured that you were gonna. I just
Yeah, but I
assumed.
figured we'd probably leave that one for you.
What? Me?
Yeah, I figured you would probably bring it up. You were.
We've already told it, so I was thinking none of us would tell it again, just
I don't
to
know.
avoid repetition.
No, this one. This one takes place at a lake. Actually,
Maybe we will though.
So what had happened was our church group went to the lake, and we were going to go tubing and other fun water activities. They're getting it now. They understand.
Yeah.
So
The memories are coming and flooding back into me.
the way that the lake was set up was there was a gangplank that led to the marina that was on the water, and like probably what?
Okay, I just want to. I'm not gonna like explicitly say what lake it is, but is this the same one we camped at?
Yes.
In 2021. Okay.
Yes, it is. Which we should do again, by the way. Anyways,
Absolutely.
I'll make us some more brats.
Oh yeah.
Bachelor party.
Yeah.
Brats at the bachelor party.
I'll make them. Anyways, the way it's set up is you got like your walkway to the marina, and then probably like, what would you guys say, like a football field away? There's like that's where the ramp is for like the boat.
For where we had for the boat, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not every boat, but for where we had our specific boat park.
Yeah, well, that's like the main dock area. But anyways, there's a bathroom that's just got like two little like it's just like a shack that's got like two doors on like it's sectioned off where it's two bathrooms. And so we all stopped there, and someone was like, "I gotta go to the bathroom real quick," and they walk in to the bathroom, and they go in there, and there is probably like, you know how there's like dinner plates and then there's like the smaller plates. You guys, you think that's probably a good size estimate? There is a small plate sized mound of poop on the toilet seat, and trailing. How tall was it? Man, dude, maybe like inch and a half.
I was gonna say, diameter doesn't mean anything unless it's, also
it was
tall.
It was tall. It was tall.
Thick daddy.
And so it's sitting on, it's like dripping off the side. It's like trailed out just a little bit from the bathroom. And on top of it was a single sheet of toilet paper resting on top as if to cover up the monstrosity that is
the whipped cream on top of the mousse.
Exactly. It smelled awful. It was the most it wasn't even like one color. It was like white in some parts. It didn't even look like a human created it. It was one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen.
So I have an idea for a name that I will not specify on recording because it's not necessarily clean. But you did say it looks like a shack, right?
Yeah.
You get where I'm going from?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm following.
What's another word for poop?
Oh. That'd be funny. Yeah.
I would say either Shack Attack or In Poomin.
Ew, yeah. Well, this next one is called the McDonald's Meadow Muffin.
I'm sorry, what muffin?
The Mickey D's Meadow Muffin.
Meadow?
Yeah, a meadow muffin is another word for a cow pie.
Oh.
Okay.
So
I'm afraid I've not heard that particular term
I was
before.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of keep with the same letter at the beginning sort of thing. But Mickey D's Meadow Muffin. This was again a long time ago while we were on vacation. We were on our way back from vacation. And we had to stop somewhere at a hotel. So on the way there, we stopped by McDonald's for a potty break. And I was a kid, and it was one of those times where I was like, I had to go, but I didn't want to say that I had to go. I was just be like, I can hold it, I'll be fine. And so I'm sitting in the van while some of the girls are inside, and I was like, I crapped my pants while I'm sitting there, and I was like,
What?
I was like, Dad,
just like that.
I was like, can I go into the bathroom? And he's like, yeah, that's fine, go ahead, just hurry up. And I was like, all right, fine. So I went in there, and like you said earlier, David, like I tried to clean it out with like toilet paper, but it like sat still. It was like my underwear was still like covered in it, and so I was like, I don't I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm like sitting there. I sat there for like 10 minutes, and Mom starts banging on the bathroom door. I was like, Brian, are you in there? I was like, we need to go. And I was like, yeah. I was like, just give me a second.
Brian, can you hear me?
Because like I didn't want to sit in my poop, but I didn't want to go commando either. So I I
That's
stuffed
fair.
a bunch of toilet paper in my
It's
underwear.
the ultimate
and then pulled
test
it
of
back
man.
up. So I stuffed a bunch of toilet paper in my underwear to pull it back up to try to keep the poop from like rubbing on my rubbing on me.
Stop.
And it was so gross because it like soaked through halfway to the hotel. So I'm sitting there still like my butt's wet because the poop soaked
They're
through.
going up the ventilation shaft.
Oh, it was so bad, and it stank too. And like somebody started to like one of my sisters. I don't think they ever figured out what happened, but one of my sisters started to notice, or sister. It might have been my brother. I don't remember. But somebody started to notice the smell. And it was like that. Something smells really bad in here, and they couldn't figure it out. I didn't. Obviously, wasn't going to say anything. I didn't say anything until we got to the hotel. I finally told Mom, and she was like, "Oh, well, why didn't you tell us earlier? Like we should have fixed that earlier. Could have like grabbed an extra pair of underwear out of your bag or something." But it was nasty.
That's I feel bad for you, man. That's traumatizing.
That's quite unfortunate. Yeah. I have a feeling my plight will make you feel better though. And I can somewhat relate. The poop wasn't in my pants though in this next story, I will say. So
Where was
this
it?
next one I call the broken valve.
Oh God.
Ooh.
Feel free to
I don't
throw
like
in
the
some
sound of
background
that.
music. So this was back in 2017. Unfortunately, my grandmother had just passed away due to pancreatic cancer, and so the other half of our family, in relation to her, my father's brother, my uncle, my paternal uncle, and his family were here for the funeral, and they were staying in our house in our guest bed downstairs.
God,
One second before you continue.
Mm-hmm.
You said that this next story would make me not feel so bad, and then you start out with
That's
your
not.
relative died. And I'm like,
I was thinking to myself, I was so glad my camera's not working. I was laughing silently so hard.
I didn't even think about that. I was trying to give context, and then I just realized, yeah, you probably will feel bad. My grandma's dead.
hey, don't worry, you'll feel better.
She
By
died.
the way, my
it's-
grandma died.
Yeah,
in this
she
story.
died of the most deadly cancer she could possibly have.
Oh my
But
goodness.
anyways, it
Sorry
gets
about
better.
that.
Jeez.
Anyway, they're here. They've been living in our house they were here for like 2 weeks around. And so, if there's one thing my people are known for, it's taking big poops. And big can apply to that in many different ways. Maybe the duration of the poop is big. Maybe the sheer size and or volume of the feces is big. Maybe it's the length. It doesn't matter. The point is, all across the board, big poop. So my cousin is known for using way too much toilet paper. I'm not going to drop his name to save him embarrassment, but the past 3 times that he's been over here, we have had to get our sewer output pipe roto-rooted to relieve cloggage. I will say though, the last time, he was here, then he left, and then we had to get roto-rooted. It was not his fault. There was a big old ball of roots in our pipe the most recent time, but that's neither here nor there. So, they've been here. The toilets, the sewer output line is clogged, but everyone, our house is at overcapacity as far as people go, and so my dad calls a plumber. Well, we can't. It's the weekend or whatever. We can't be out there till tomorrow, so we're on minimal waste mode, right? So you can't turn on the shower, you can't flush the toilets, and you can't turn on the sink unless you're filling a cup or something where the water's not going down the drain, because
Right.
for all intents and purposes, the sewer line is basically just kaput. And so I go to me and my cousin are downstairs in our downstairs gaming room, and the rest of the family is upstairs. And so we've been playing video games for a while, and I'm like, okay, I have to pee. So I go in to the bathroom and I pee.
Oh no.
And like a
Oh,
good
no.
little boy, who was raised properly by his mama, who
no.
didn't raise no dirty fool, I go to flush the toilet after I use the bathroom because, like, well, come on, that's the right thing to do. Back me up here, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Force a habit. And so I'm like, oh darn it. Well, it's,
Oh,
all in all,
crap.
it's just one toilet flush. So there's not really that much harm. But here's what I'll do in order to prevent catastrophic failure in the near future. So I've been down, and the way most toilets work, at least here in the U.S., is you've got the water input valve coming out of the wall and into the tank, and that's got a hand valve on it that you can turn on and off, and then you just go down. When you flush it, it goes down through the floor. But so I bend down to the input pipe, and I go to turn off the valve, and it snaps off in my hand. And now, thankfully, because this is the input valve, it's clean water, but nonetheless, water begins to spew out of the pipe and all over the floor of the bathroom. And I let out a yelp of panic, and it was like the sixth sense. My dad just like knew from probably the timbre of my voice and the sloshing water sound that it was that I was not just making a random noise to make a random noise, and that I was actually in trouble. So he comes running down, and luckily he's a smart person and he knows where the master shut-off valve is in the house. And so he runs to that, but the thing is, it's in the crawl space, right? So he has to open the nice-looking doors for decoration, then open the main hatch, and then crawl up in the hole and like reach around the corner and turn off the valve. So while that's happening, my mom's like futilely holding a cup under the pipe and letting it fill up, and she goes, "Get a bucket!" And my cousin from the room just starts going, "Bucket, bucket, 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 bucket." And my mom like shoots me a death stare and goes, "Shut him up." And I'm like, and I like run down the hall and I'm like, "Stop it, shut up." And then I like run upstairs into the garage and grab a bucket. And luckily, not only was my dad like quick on the draw to get that valve off, he had a replacement input pipe and valve of the proper size and fitting that he was able to just slap right on that toilet. So very smart man. Listen, pro tip for all you out there listening: know where your master shutoff valve is, both in the house and outside of the house. You're supposed to, according to like housing mandates, at least here in the U.S., you're supposed to have a master shutoff valve somewhere inside the house and somewhere outside the house. And here's the kicker, right? This was the bathroom in the basement, so it's the lowest part of the plumbing system, at the bottom, like near the floor behind the toilet. So all the water that's like resting in the pipes in the rest of the plumbing system of the house is just flowing down out the pipe. Oh man, yeah, it was chaos.
Gross. We had that happen with our upstairs kitchen sink shortly after we moved in here, and it took us like half an hour to find the shutoff valve because we just moved in and we could not figure out where it was.
Yeah, always
like
if you're moving into a place, have the previous tenant or the landlord or whoever show you where that is. You want to know where that is. That and the electrical panel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Bucket, 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 bucket.
Yeah, no, that's probably, bucket, 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 bucket.
And that's like a meme in our family now. We'll just like look at each other and go, bucket, 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 bucket. Like whenever someone says bucket.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man.
David, it's your turn.
Back to me. All right. This one also is not. It's not me that had the catastrophe, but I was present in the situation. I call this one yard waste.
Yeah.
And you could have some preconceived notions, but I don't think they'll quite match with what you may be imagining. So, back in the day,
so anyway,
when
my grandfather had cancer. No.
Back in the day, I had a lawn mowing company kind of startup little thing in my neighborhood, and my dad would help me mow yards. I got most of the profit, but it was still a team effort. Sure, and we had two riding mowers. We had one that you sat down on and one that you stood up on. One was a right lawnmower and the other one was a Toro. And my dad was operating the right. And so that one, you stand up, you got your controls, and you're outside, you're on someone's yard. The terrain could be rather bumpy at times. The machine.
That's the one I almost ran off the cliff at our old house.
Yeah, it is. Good job, Brian. I remember that a little segue. My dad was telling me about that same day, and he was like, "Yeah, Brian just kind of like walked over to me and was like, oh." I got the lawnmower stuck.
It was like hanging half off the cliff. We're like, yeah, that's probably a problem.
When you say cliff, how big a drop are we talking?
It was probably about 6 or 7 feet, but it was like very. I mean, there were 2 giant rocks that jutted out.
Right. Yeah.
It was hanging off the top rock.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so, yeah, so we're doing our lawn mowing business, and unbeknownst to my father, he was doing the business while doing our business. It turned out that due to the vibrations of the ground and the machine, he did not realize that he defecated himself.
Oh my!
I don't
God.
know how.
I can't. Yeah, because it's not like you just poop. It's not like you're just feeling vibration when you're pooping.
It had to have like just kind of like slowly like farted out or like leaked out or something. I have no idea what happened.
Maybe it was diarrhea.
We finish up the job, and we load everything up. We get in the car, and he's like, "God, what is that smell, David?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Man, that's awful." So we like roll down the windows, we bear through it. We don't know what happened. We check our shoes. None of us had stepped in poop, but we get home, we go inside, and he's like, "It's in the house too, man. What the heck is going on?" And he's like talking to me and my mom, and he's like, "Man, that is bad. I'm gonna go take a shower or something." He goes to take a shower, and there is a like completely solidified turd in his pants now, covering the entirety of the inside of his underwear. It just completely, it's solid at this point. That's how long it had been just sitting there.
Oh,
that's so gross.
And he came back downstairs after his shower, and he looked at me and he's like, "I found the smell, David." and then explained to me what had happened. And
poor guy.
I still get a laugh out of it to this day.
Wow.
That's so gross. Before my next story, I have a couple poop jokes, actually.
I would just like to apologize on behalf of Quintercle for any discomfort this episode may cause. Thank you.
I would like to not apologize. You chose to listen to this video.
You looked at the title and you listened to it anyways.
Yeah.
If you've gotten this far, this is your fault.
That's their
I have
opinion, not mine.
I have a couple of poop sayings that I heard one of my cousins say one time. He was like, before I get to my next story, he said, when you're sitting on the john and the toilet paper's gone, be a man, use your hand.
That's horrible.
And he also said, because we were doing, he had several of them, but I forgot most of them because it was a long time ago. But then he also said, when you're standing on the ladder and you hear something splatter, it's diarrhea.
When you're running into home and your pants are full of foam, diarrhea.
When the moon hits your eye.
Next story.
Like a big.
Well, what was that one called, David?
Yard waste.
Yard waste. Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
This one is called the faulty flusher.
Faulty flusher. Alliteration bonus for you, good sir.
Thank you. So this one happened when I was working at the grocery store. Gosh, I saw a lot of horrible things in that bathroom there. But so there's one day where somebody had pooped in one of our toilets and had completely, they filled up the toilet with just crap and toilet paper to the point that it clogged it and it overflowed. So we couldn't get it unclogged. Mainly because nobody wanted to go in there because the water was at the top of the toilet bowl. First of all, there's toilet water on the floor, and then there's water at the very top of the bowl that is just, it's brown water because it's full of crap and toilet paper, and it's disgusting.
Phasmophobia.
So nobody wanted to go in there.
There's a ghost.
Yeah, nobody wanted to go in there and like plunge it because then you're going to get crap all over you. But also, we just like we didn't that toilet we had been having issues with a lot anyway. So we're like, okay, fine, let's close that stall. We'll call a plumber.
Oh, that poor guy.
So we put a sign. We put a sign on the door, on that stall door, that said "Closed, do not use." And about an hour later,
Oh my God, I remember this.
this old guy like hobbles over to customer service, and the back of his pants are covered in water and crap.
Oh man.
And you're like, what the heck happened? And he starts out with going, "You have a problem with one of your toilets." And we're like, yeah, no, duh, we know that.
No. Yeah, fill it in.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. No crap, Sherlock. But he proceeds to tell us the story of he went in there, opened the stall, so apparently he didn't read the close sign.
I was gonna say, you said it was clearly marked, did you not?
Yes, so he didn't read the sign, which sometimes, people miss if they're looking down or something, they miss it. But then he proceeds to lock the door and then somehow miss the toilet bowl full of crap, and he sits down on it, puts his pants on the floor, and as he sits down, the water, he's putting pressure on it, and the water just overflows again.
Pressure.
All over his pants and shoes.
That is...
And then all over his butt.
You hate
and
to
I'm
see
like,
it.
dude, how did you miss the sign and then miss the toilet full of poop in front of you? And you proceed to sit down and get this all over, and then act like it's our fault? Like, you're an idiot.
That is just... That's a bad day.
Yeah. Some
It
people
was
can
like,
just be
this guy's-
bullheaded. Like, this isn't related to poop, but when I was in elementary school, there was this kid who was just dead set on using a stall every time, even if he just had to pee. And so one time we're in there, and there's already a kid in one of the stalls, and the other just says out of order on it. And he goes in there. I don't know, why. Maybe he's just a gun-shy peer. I don't know. But he goes in there anyway. I'm like, dude, it says out of order. And he's like, I don't care. And he went in there.
Weird.
I've got that issue. So I use a stall as much as possible because I can use a urinal, but it's one of those things that if somebody else is in the room, I don't know why, I can't pee. I'm sorry, but I can't.
Well, and here's the thing, right? In my elementary school, there were no urinal dividers. In fact, they were the kind of urinal that goes all the way into the floor, and
I hate
they're
those.
all like directly next to each other, right? So there's almost nothing between you and
Yep.
the next person.
Yeah,
And that was
my...
before
if
urinal
you're that kind of
etiquette
person-
got truly refined into what it is today.
I was gonna say, if you're the kind of person that stands directly next to somebody at a urinal, you are the scum of the earth.
At my
give that dude some space.
At my school, there are no dividers between the urinals. They're just open and free.
Are they the floor
sweet.
kind though, or are they just on the wall?
They're just on the wall.
I hate that.
I
hate
go.
that so much.
We
Any
recently
women listening are like, what?
we recently installed what we have dubbed the gender neutral bathrooms that are like a series of probably like 10 or so, maybe 12 like individual like rooms, basically, like ones that you would like go in and like lock it and it says like occupied or like vacant, stuff like that.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what part of my school I'm in. If I have to poop, I go out of my way to go to that location because I will not go into the bathrooms that are just in the hallways because that's asking for trouble.
You need your privacy, bruh.
I do.
I get it.
One time, I actually, I went out of my way we were at church camp, and I had to poop. And actually, I guess since it involves poop, I can wait. Go ahead, Jake.
Okay, all right, fair. I was gonna let you go ahead, but all right. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
So, I call this next one poopitis.
Poopitis.
So,
Poopitis.
this is mainly recounted to you, not because I remember it happening, but because my parents remember it happening. So, back in the day, when my grandparents were both alive and competent, they had a house on a lake called Lake Fort Scott. It's about 100 miles south of Kansas City, Kansas. And it's a nice little town. But the lake is it's a typical, it's stereotypical lake, I'm going to say, dark, murky waters, all sorts of fish, hick, kind of like hick like people, living around. But the point is, my Boy Scout troop went down there one day for a little tubing fun. So we brought our speedboats and our inner tubes of every sort and shape and color and what have you, including one that was shaped like a giant hot dog. Now that's some good fun right there. But the best one by far was one we had called the Missile. And this bad boy was a flat triangle with 3 chairs in it. One on each wing and then one front and center. And it went faster than anything else we had, and it was also way more comfortable than anything else we had. However, because it was flat and wide, it was prone to catching air and flipping up, and thus hurling and or overturning its riders. So one particular time I'm riding this, and I get thrown, and my body is skipped across the water like a stone. Rather violently, too, I might add. And in the midst of this physical chaos, some lake water got into my mouth and down into my stomach. And when that happened, I contracted a disease called Giardia. Are either of you familiar with that?
I am, yes.
Brian, do you know what that is?
A little. I know what it is, but I'm not familiar with it.
So Giardia is a parasite that causes the disease giardiasis, which basically makes you crap your guts out. Like you tend to get more diarrhea more frequently, and in my particular case, I simply couldn't retain almost any food. Anything I ate, I would immediately have to poop.
It's like dysentery, but it doesn't kill you.
Yeah, that's actually that's a pretty good way to put it. Speaking of dysentery, sometime I'd like to do a playthrough of Oregon Trail with you guys. Anyway,
that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Where was I? Oh yes. So, according to my parents, in about the span of a week, I pooped out 10% of my body weight.
Wow.
And which means I was around that time I would have been roughly 100 pounds according to them. So I crapped 10 pounds worth of poop in the span of a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of poop.
It is a lot of poop. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, I was hurting though. It was not fun. Don't get Giardia, kids.
Close your mouth.
Poop water.
Close your mouth when you're at the lake.
Yep. All right, David.
All right.
Passing it on to you.
I'm gonna call this one. I'll call it Crappy Camp. All right, so I'm at church camp, and I have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's okay. I'll just go to the mess hall or the cafeteria or whatever you may call it. I go up there, and it's locked. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not too far away from the guy's bathroom. I'll just walk over there, and I'll do my business
there. Is this
there.
junior camp, you said?
No, this is Chautauqua.
Okay.
So I go over to the boys' shower room, and it's just, I don't know why, but it was just loaded with dudes. It was full up of guys doing stuff. I don't know if they were like showering or like what they were doing, but like,
right, yeah.
I went in there, and there was like people already in like some of the stalls, and the way these bathrooms are situated is like there's just a curtain that goes in front of the toilet, and then like a divider that when you're sitting down on the toilet, you could probably still see like the top of people's heads. You could probably turn your head and make eye contact with the person sitting next to you.
Yeah. It's very awkward.
And at least they all went down to the floor though.
Yeah, that's true. And me, I'm a little poop shy. I don't really like to poop if I'm not going to be completely alone. So I leave the premise. I'm like, I couldn't handle that. I'm not going to subjugate myself to that. And I begin my search for a quiet, lonely place to poop. All the while, it is just building up inside of me. I can feel it a-brewing. The storm is coming, and I am running out of time. So I end up walking as fast as my body would allow me while keeping its contents inside as fast as I possibly could to the Fortress of Solitude, where I ended up doing my business there across the entire camp. It took me, I almost didn't make it. It was one of those, like, as soon as it was, like, butt to porcelain, it was out.
It was like starting to poke out.
Yeah. No, I had a turtle head, if you will.
You were groundhogging it?
I was, yes.
Oh, that's nasty.
But you made it?
I made it.
Okay, good.
I have one more story that I'm not sure on a clever title for it. I can call it work woes because I can't think of another word for poop that would go in there. But
what?
Work woes.
Okay.
1 second.
Maybe workload.
There you go. Workload. Well, yeah, we can do that. Workload.
You know, David, your story kind of reminds me of a story that happened to, man. Okay. Brian, you should probably edit this out. You got it past me. It's now edited out.
Anyway, so work woes or workload. So it happened at my current job. Actually, I didn't actually crap my pants, but it was close.
That's what they all say.
So I was working on.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I was working on a car, and the service writer wanted it to get done as soon as possible. Like, it had just gotten into the shop, and they're like, they need this done. They need this out as soon as possible. Like, get this done as fast as you can. I was like, okay, cool, I will. But it was a really big ticket, so I was like, there's a lot of things I had to do on this. I was like, I really got to get this done first.
Something else is really big too, am I right?
Well, yeah, here's the thing. I had Taco Bell for lunch that
Oh, no.
That'll do it, man.
So, before I even got the car on the rack, my stomach is just grumbling. And I was like, this is not going to be good. I have to go to the bathroom. But I was like, if I don't get this done as soon as possible, they're going to yell at me. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that right now. So I was like,
that's the worst kind of work order.
Yeah, so I get it up, and I'm working on it, and everything is going wrong. Okay, the drain plug for the oil got stuck, and it had to get, I had to get somebody else to pull it out for me, and they had to fix that. It's called the time cert. They had to fix the threads in there in the oil pan. The wheels, I had to balance the wheels.
That was your time to strike, man. While he's messing with that's when I would.
Because here's the thing, I had to do a lot of other things on it. So while he was doing that, I was still working on other parts of the car.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
So I had to balance the wheels, and so I got them on. The balancer wasn't working; it wasn't calibrated properly. So it was just giving me all these outrageous number of weights, and I'm like, this isn't working. So I had to take it to the weight machine on the other side of the shop. Finally, get those balanced, and then I go to. I had to do a brake flush on it, and in order to do that, you put the brake bleeder on the. Gosh, what's it called? It's a little valve on the caliper of the brake.
Why would we know that?
What?
I said, why would Jake and I know that?
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I asked you or not. I couldn't remember what
you said. What's it called? Like we were supposed to know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. But so basically, what we're supposed to do is loosen up that nut and then put the brake bleeder on there, and it pulls the fluid through. Shut up! It pulls the fluid through into the container, and you're supposed to do that for like 30 seconds on the back brakes, and like, shut up, David.
I'm sorry, it just kept getting funnier and funnier.
You do it for 30 seconds on the back brakes, and then like 20 to 25 seconds on the front brakes. And the back brakes, the nuts were getting stuck, so I couldn't loosen them up, and so I had to grab like a screwdriver and put it in the open end of my wrench and like use that as a handle to try to pull it down and loosen it up, and then I had to have somebody else come and help me grab it. It was so dumb. It was like everything was going wrong, and this whole time
you're holding in your poop.
It's like I could feel it coming, like starting
festering.
to poke, and I'm like
starting to poke.
And then like holding it in is causing my stomach to cramp. So
they're
I'm
the
like,
orcs coming at the door with Grond. They're pushing. They're breaking it
I was
down.
like, I feel like literal crap. Like, this is so dumb. We finally get everything down. I get it down, and I have to like bend over to like torque the wheels. It doesn't. As I'm bending over to torque the wheels, it's just every time I bend down, it's like pushing it farther and farther out. I'm like, this is so not good. So I'm like, how to like do that and then shuffle to the service drive to give the guy the service writer the ticket, and then like rush back to the bathroom. And as soon as I got as soon as my butt touched the toilet, it was out, and I was like, I barely made that. It was so bad. It could have ended in disaster.
Imagining your butt was like the pilots in that one episode of SpongeBob. We gotta drop the load.
Yeah. At least you made it, man. You could have not been so lucky. You would have had to go home. That would have been such an awkward conversation with your boss. Like, hey, can I go home?
We've a lot of my coworkers and I have joked about that. Like, dude, what if we just like decide to crap our pants so we could go home one day?
Oh my gosh!
Just for the fun of it.
So
at
my
job,
you don't want to do your job.
At my job, it apparently doesn't matter what happens to you. I had a fever of 100, and my boss was like, "You can't go home." I'm like, "I'm literally sick," and she was like, "I don't care."
Was that pre-COVID?
No, this was like last month.
Dude, what the frick, bro?
Or like a couple months ago, yeah. I was
by this point especially, we should know better than to allow
I was
that kind of thing
working
to happen.
12 hours, and she was like, "Sorry, you can't go home." I was like, "Man, so I'm."
This is at Panda.
Yeah,
that's. I don't think that's legal.
I'm looking for another job.
Well, it's
You're
not,
good,
but also like no wonder Panda makes everybody sick because they're not letting their sick employees go home.
Yeah, we were like the only store that stayed open during the Super Bowl too.
Oh, wow. Excuse me. I'm
Anyways,
sorry, I'm like burping over here.
Jake, I do believe you're up.
That I am. So, this one is called The Worst Poop I've Ever Taken in My Life. I'm sorry,
I like that name. I like that
Let
name.
me try again.
Very descriptive.
The worst poop I've ever taken in my life, coming this summer. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, this is also, going back again to the whole, my grandmother had cancer, so, in the months leading up to her unfortunate death, she was in a hospice house. And we were there pretty much every day. I mean, my family and my uncle's family. And so, we're hanging out there one day. And it's a really nice place too. Very, very high-end facility. They had a Windows PC in the like real little like rec room near where my grandmother's room was, and my cousin and I would play Flash games. Brian, bleep that out. My cousin and I would play Flash games.
I was like, you almost slipped up there.
Yeah. Oops. Rip my cousin. No, I'm just kidding. So
Bucket.
So I get the old nature's call, that old familiar feeling in my bowels, and I'm like, all right, off to the bathroom to go relieve myself. So I sit down and I don't recall anything out of the ordinary that I'd eaten that week, or drank, and I was pretty well hydrated. I feel like I could always do a little better in the hydration department, but I'm never like dying of dehydration, right? Like I never let myself get to that point, except for once the first year at Boy Scout summer camp. But that's another story for another episode. The point is, I was feeling fine, and there was no reason for me to feel sick. But alas, as I sat upon that toilet, defecating the night away, an unfortunate feeling began to arise in my gut. A deep pain, deep within a pit in my stomach. And I started to get very hot and sweaty, and my arms got numb. And my heartbeat started beating really fast, and I was breathing really heavily, and I was just in pain, doubled over on the toilet. And I was wearing, this was like in like September, and so I like stripped off a couple layers, and so there's just like jackets hanging on the wall next to me, and I had a t-shirt, and I'm just like, the pain. And
really need the noises.
We're pretty sure that was undiagnosed IBS, but I've been too lazy to have myself looked at by a doctor, so there you go. The end.
Nasty.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it was
But
not good.
I know the feeling. I have had many a day where I would wake up in the middle of the night feeling the urge, knowing it was no normal urge, and
This
takes
is no ordinary poop.
I've had my moments where I've just taken off all my clothes in an attempt to ease my pain.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. I've been there. Yeah.
You know it's bad. That's when you start fighting demons.
You're like, oh, and even like after you're done pooping, after nothing is coming out anymore, you're still like in pain.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't want to leave the
The
toilet because you're
raw.
not sure.
All
You
right.
got that raw butt, and you're just like, I don't want to move.
Raw butt. Oh my gosh. Brian, edit that out.
The chapped
All right.
butt.
I will. I have my next story is probably one of the hardest I've ever laughed at a poop story. It was told by me, and I'm going to carry on the tradition of the grapevine and tell this story for you guys to hear. I won't
The
name.
poop vine, if you will.
I won't name who it is, but you guys, you know him very well. What's like a descriptor that he's blonde and tall,
That really
That
doesn't
doesn't,
help.
yeah.
And he
you
likes
bore
co-
witness to this incident, though?
no, he's just told me about it. He's
Oh, okay.
blonde, tall. He likes Converse. He's got a brother.
Gotcha.
He's the younger.
Is he at college now?
Yeah, he's the younger brother though.
Yep. Gotcha.
What?
Jake.
Just say who it is and then Brian bleep it out.
It's your teachers, your Sunday school teachers, Jake.
That still doesn't quite narrow it
Anyways.
down.
Their kid. It's their kid.
They have so many, though.
It's the youngest one.
The youngest.
Okay. Gotcha.
You know, the one I would be better friends with.
Okay, you know what? When you put it that way, I get it now. Okay,
Anyways,
fair enough.
so we're sitting there. I don't know if this was during. Anyways, I don't remember. I was at his house and he was telling me this story. He was like, David, I need to tell you a story. He's like, I had an incident not too long ago. He was like, I went to the bathroom and I went to poop and I sat down and I could feel it. Nothing came out. And he's like, I suddenly realized that my poop was horizontal inside of my rectum. It was stuck inside of him. So he tells me.
How do you?
He
First of
tells
all, how
me-
do you realize that? How do you just sit there and be like, oh, I think it's.
I'm sure you could.
horizontal in my
I'm
rectum.
sure you could feel it. I'm sure, but
I
he
wouldn't say
tells
necessarily
me.
that, but I've had the feeling where you know it's a little too wide.
Yeah, but it just stretches.
He tells
and
me.
hurts
like
like
He
crazy.
tells me that he gets up and starts pacing around his bathroom, and it's just like, oh, just like walking back and forth, like hobbling around, clutching his intestines,
Oh.
trying to get some relief. I laughed in his face for probably 15 minutes just thinking about that. Over the way he told it was just beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
that's
could
incredible.
totally imagine him.
I
telling
could
Oh,
see
God,
that. Yeah, I
that's
could see it
bad.
so clearly.
It was wonderful to hear that story. Still one of the funniest
That's so
things I've
bad.
ever heard to this day.
Oh my.
That's nasty.
Did it come out?
Yes. Obviously. What everybody wants to know. Did it or did it not come out? Yeah, anyways. So, that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay, I have one more very brief story. And then you, David, you said you were out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay.
Jake, I'm afraid to ask, but how many do you have left?
One, although I feel like we should just like briefly recap the Mescapade one that was mentioned earlier.
Okay. Okay, so I'll do mine real quick.
David, why don't
Um,
you recap that after I tell my last story?
I don't know it as well as you do.
Okay, fair enough.
So a long time ago.
In a galaxy
Obvi-
far, far away.
obviously,
Is this your last one, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So a long time ago, one of my siblings got sick, and it was some kind of bug that, excuse me, it messed up with like, it jacked your stomach and your intestines up so bad. I mean, to the point where if you felt like you need to throw up, you had to sit on the toilet with a bucket, because when you threw up, your whole body would contract and you would immediately spew out diarrhea at the same time.
Coming out both ends.
Exactly, and it burned like heck.
Hmm.
But one of my siblings got it, and then naturally we all got it.
That's the worst.
So there's a day. I mean, we're all sitting in the living room watching Homeward Bound, and we've all got Pedialyte popsicles because we're all like dehydrated as heck because we've all had diarrhea the past week. And I made the mistake of like, I had footy pajamas at the time.
Sorry, I've worn them
Which I
before,
really
too.
I want to get another pair of those because those rock. But
Those,
it-
yeah,
it
they're
did-
nice
it-
and warm, but I can understand where you're going with this.
The zipper is
Yeah,
stuck.
It wasn't the kind that had like a flap at the back, so you had to
Yeah.
unzip the whole thing to get it off. Okay. And Mom warned me when I went to bed. She's like, "You're not gonna want that on because if you get up, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom, and you're not gonna want that on." And I was like, "I'll be fine. I'll be fine." But true to what she said, I woke up like 2 a.m. and I felt like I had to throw up.
Nature's
And I knew what
calling.
that meant. I was like, all right, cool. Grabbed my bucket from next to me, hopped out of my bunk bed, ran to the restroom, and my zipper got stuck. So I'm like, no. And I like freaking like almost break the stinking zipper. Actually, I might have actually broken. I don't remember, but I don't remember. But I finally got undone. Like dropped the stupid footy pajamas on, and then sat down, immediately threw up, and then crapped at the same time.
Oh
It was
my
so
gosh.
bad. It was so nasty. Because it would have been worse if it was in footy pajamas. Because it would have gone all the way down to my feet,
And then just stayed
sat
there.
I would have just sat there. Like, I'm so lucky I got that thing off. I
Uh,
would have been in so much trouble.
Imagine if you broke the zipper. That would have been hilarious.
Oh, it was bad.
I would have just tore it off my body. Glad you survived that, man.
Yeah, me too. It was bad.
that's brutal though.
Just oh no, not like this.
I will not go out like this.
Not like this.
All right, Jake. I have a few more minutes, so let's try to get through your stories.
Okay, yeah. So this this final one is called Pop's Poop. Now, as you might be able to garner from the title, I was not the pooper in this story, but I did suffer as a direct result of this poop. So, currently, my grandfather is in an assisted living home because he has dementia. But before the dementia got bad enough to necessitate that being a thing, he lived in and owned his own house. And it was not that bad of a house. It was definitely needed work, but it was, I've seen worse, I've seen better, but it was pretty good, all said. And the way his master bathroom was laid out, it was just kind of an open into the where the sink and the mirror is, and then you open the door, and behind that door is the toilet and the shower. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So and eventually we just took that door out, so it would be like if you went in there and pooped, there would be no door separating you from the outside world. But that's not when the story takes place. This story takes place when there is still a door on those hinges. And here's the thing about that little room where the toilet and the shower are, is if you don't turn the fan on while the door is closed, there is absolutely no ventilation to that room. So, and the door is not a perfect seal. Obviously, there's a crack at the bottom, but it's almost entirely will seal off the room, and no air will get in or out, almost. So, before my grandfather degraded into the state he is today, while he owned this house, he went on a vacation with his girlfriend to Florida, and so he was gone for a week, and so my mom offered to clean his house while he was gone, and she volunteered me to help. So, so we go there. They left on like Sunday or Monday, and we go there. We don't get there till like Wednesday afternoon, and so we walk in the front door, and what's important to know is that his bedroom and bathroom, the bathroom specifically, is like the furthest you could physically walk in the upper level from the front door. So you have to like go around through the house and then like into the back of his bedroom and then into the bathroom. So we make our way in the house, and everything seems normal. And as so my mom's like, all right, I'm going to start, cleaning in the kitchen or whatever. You take this vacuum and you make your way from the back of the house to the front, and then go to the basement. And his house is all carpeted, obviously not the bathrooms, but in the bedrooms and in the hallway and the living room, it was carpeted. And so I'm like, okay, I start in the guest room, which is across the hall from the master bathroom. I mean, master bedroom. I get that done. I make my way to the master bedroom, and this smell hits me, and it's the unmistakable, unfortunately very familiar smell of raw sewage. And so I'm like, what? I don't like see anything visually out of the ordinary. I'm like sniffing and looking around, trying to figure out the source. I like yell up to my mom who's in the kitchen, "Mom, do you smell that?" And she's like, "What?" And she like comes in the room with me and she's like, "Whoa, what is that?" So we're like looking around, trying to find the source of this stench, this foul odor, and eventually I make my way to the bathroom, and I see that the door is closed, and so I say to myself, that doesn't bode well." So I open the door, and instantly I'm hit with it at least twice as powerful smell of raw sewage, and I look down and the toilet lid is shut, and so I'm like, oh, here we go, and I open it with my foot specifically, and there's a nice you can't even see the poop, like the water is just brown, like it's not translucent, it's just brown, and there's maybe like a little bit sticking out of the surface of the water, but it's just brown, and it smells horrid. So what has happened is he took a dump right before he left, and then he didn't flush. He closed the lid, he closed the door to the bathroom, and it sat there and it festered in that unventilated, hot, sealed bathroom until I opened it and got hit by the horrible smell. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's gross. And I used my foot to flush the toilet as well. And it left a nice thick brown ring where the water level was on the bowl. And I have a picture of that ring in my phone.
Oh,
but yeah, that was it's gross. The ring did eventually come off, but it took about 3 more flushes and some chemicals. And that's
Chemicals
the tale
help
of
with
Pop's
everything.
poop.
yikes!
That's funny.
Yes, and finally, once more with feeling, the mescapade fecal debacle. So
See, I think it was like episode 2 that we mentioned that, or something like that. Episode
it
1
was,
or 2, I don't remember.
I don't think it was 1, but it was certainly earlier in the show's life at this point. So my parents used to be the middle school teachers at our church, and so they were in charge of planning and then running or carrying out, administering, however you want to put it, the activities for the middle school youth group. And so one such activity was an original idea. Well, I wouldn't know. I don't know if it was original. Probably like he, saw it on the internet. But I'm definitely giving him kudos for the names. He called it my dad came up with it. He called it the Mescapade. So basically, we brought a bunch of things like soda, Mentos, peanut butter, shaving cream, cereal, stuff, and we just
It was awesome.
got messy. Like we filled a
It was
kiddie pool with
awesome.
cereal and like milk and water, and we just like mixed it all around, and we put it at the bottom of a hill, and we put a slip and slide on that hill. This is a hill behind our church, by the way, and then we would just slide down the slip and slide into that kiddie pool. It got very messy, and then like we used the shaving cream to have like a hairstyling competition. Whoever had the best hairstyle won, and then we would like cover people's faces with peanut butter, and then we'd have partners throw like marshmallows or cheese balls at them and try to have the most stuck to their partner's face by the end. All around very messy. But there was one mess that occurred that we did not plan for. You see, this was, as I mentioned, hosted at the church. So, well, we were not roaming the entire building. We had access to the kitchen, the gym, what was at the time what at the time was the high school classroom, which was right off of the gym. And because of where the main restrooms are located, we had access to the foyer of the church. And so, at some point during the night, in the middle of the foyer, right next to there is a security / reception desk in the center of the foyer. And right next to that desk, at some point during the night, somebody dropped trowel and took a dump on the floor. And then they also peed on it. And to this day, nobody knows who that was. For you see, if you were to go to our church today, you would notice that there are plenty of security cameras, not only on the exterior of the building, but inside the building as well. At least 4 in the foyer alone. But at that point in time, the cameras were not up yet. That was many years before that decision would be made. And so, it is one of the greatest mysteries of that church.
So crazy. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard that story.
Yeah, honestly, I
Yeah.
was beside myself. And shout outs to our, I think I don't remember if the high schoolers were there too, or it was just the teacher. But our teacher, the high school teacher, was the one who found it, and he let out a big sigh, and then he just went and got gloves and a paper towel, and he picked it up.
A lot of strange things happened at those
So
events.
weird.
Yep.
They're very fun though.
Oh, I remember when we mentioned it. It was when we were talking about like, what would you do if you were 10 again, but you retained all your experience and your knowledge, and I was like, I would camp out in the sanctuary and look through the window and try and find out who pooped in the foyer.
Oh yeah. I really want to know.
That's just I can only imagine
yeah,
that it
so
was
that
a
was-
guest that someone brought.
That was episode 2.
Okay. Yeah.
What a wild ride.
Wow.
Well, so if you guys made it this far, kudos to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
Congrats.
done, and also I'm
If you-
sorry.
Yeah.
yeah, if you haven't left because you're disgusted, well, thank you for making it all the way through the episode. We really appreciate it. Oh, this is probably one of the weirdest episodes we've ever. Or actually, no, I take that back. It is the weirdest episode we've ever done.
And if you did make the decision to stay through this entire video, why not subscribe? You literally have no excuse at this point.
Yeah, this is the grossest thing we've ever talked about. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe. There's no point in not subscribing.
Well,
and
let's be
listening to
clear.
all the other episodes.
You shouldn't subscribe for more content like this. You
No,
should subscribe
all the
because
rest
you
is-
stayed with us for so long, and because you don't have all the content that we have. Other content is probably better than this, and so you have no excuse to not.
Probably
consume
no. It is.
it.
This is the bottom this is the bottom tier content that we had.
Bottom of the bowl.
Emphasis
if you
on
will.
bottom.
Got him.
Oh my gosh.
But yes,
What is our next episode going to be about? I don't remember.
don't say it out loud.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, I was just double checking.
By the
Okay,
way, I'm welcoming any and all ideas from either of you.
I thought I put one in there.
Did you?
I don't remember. I feel like I
Okay,
did.
regardless, it's like a ratio of 1 to 1 to 15.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing. You have like half the year planned out.
That's true.
So, like,
Still,
why would we need? It's like why? Like, I think part of it is why would we feel the need to put episodes in there if you've already got all this stuff put in? So
because you shouldn't
yeah,
wait
I'll-
till the last second to put something in there. All right,
I'll still
be
try to think
prepared.
of stuff.
It's the Boy Scout motto for
yeah,
a reason.
So I put number 18 in there.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for
I
listening.
think you changed the name. I think you changed the name though.
Yeah, I did. I hope you like it.
Yeah, I did like it.
Yes.
I hope you
thank
get the
for-
reference. If not, I'll explain after we stop recording. Anyway, thanks for listening. Sorry you had to sit through this, but hey, you're the one who chose to sit through it.
It's your fault.
So, leave a like, drop a like into the bowl, if you will.
And go have yourself a wonderful month.
Ring the
Leave a
notification
comment
bowl. Sorry.
Leave a comment and or a voice message
Yeah.
on here.
Hit up our speak pipe thing. There wasn't any
yeah.
for this month.
So leave a message with your favorite or most disgusting poop stories. I'd love to listen to some of that.
Oh my gosh, what have you done? You've opened up Pandora's box.
I have. I think this will be
You've
fun.
opened the
Pandora's
sphincter,
box
if you will.
I don't.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
either that or just leave us questions about whatever you want to, or ideas and suggestions for content you want to hear us discuss for y'all.
actually, David, since you weren't here last time, you probably don't really know what we're talking about, do you?
I don't.
So there's this website called SpeakPipe, which allows you to set up basically like an online voicemail that's not tied to a phone number. So basically, what we're doing is we're leaving the link in the description, and if you click it, you can just hit a button to record a voice message, and it'll send it to me, and then I can have Brian played in the final edit of the episode.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So that's speakpipe.com/the Time Capsule Podcast. Leave a message,
Yeah,
please.
so you can do that on the YouTube. I could put that link in on Anchor, or Anchor has their own voice. They can leave their own voice messages on Anchor.
Oh, they can?
Yeah,
That's
I can
handy,
put a
that.
link in there for the Spotify as well.
Oh,
so,
I had no idea. Okay.
So yeah, you may see two links for different voice messages. One is for SpeakPipe, the other one is for Anchor. Or I might just figure out which one to put in there. SpeakPipe, I think, is probably the best option. But yeah,
I already went to all that hard work to set it up.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, we might as well use that. I believe. Let me double check, but I believe we now have stuff set up on our podcast. Let me see.
Anyway, leave a message.
At the tone.
David, any final
I can't
thoughts?
remember.
Not a one.
Anything you would have said if you were here last month?
Oh, sorry.
Nope.
Okay. Figured I'd give you that opportunity.
Yeah. So I also have listener support on Anchor. So there should be a link in the Spotify or any of the descriptions. Really should put it in there all of them.
You have to email it to
in
me
the descriptions.
so I can put it in the YouTube one. I don't know why you'd support this crap.
Yeah, I don't either. But if you do feel like supporting us at all or any kind of small donation, you could click on that link down there and.
I want to be clear. I don't
Give
expect
us-
any of you to. I know we're in
No,
a
I'm not
recession.
either.
Don't feel like you have to. We're not here. We're not going to beg. We're not beggars.
It's simply just if you guys actually do feel generous and you like the content we're making, we would obviously appreciate it. But
Anyway, go to our
it's-
Patreon. No, I'm
It's
just
just
kidding.
an option. Yeah, I'm not bothering to set up a Patreon.
No, that's like
Not for
way
this
down the
stuff.
line, if at all.
But anyways,
Anyway,
yeah. So
we'll see
thank
you next
all.
month.
Thank you all for sticking through this, and we'll see you next
Bye
month.
bye.
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 And there you have it. Another episode of the Time Capsule Podcast, recorded, edited, uploaded, and now listened to. Yeah, if you haven't already, please check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Quinturkle. We've got a lot of fun stuff there, and we've got more coming down the pipeline. And why don't you also let us know what you think about this stuff? You know, we've got the comment section on YouTube, and there's the reviews on Apple Podcasts, and I'm sure there's ways to review on other podcatchers. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go and take a nice hot shower. This has been Quinturkle, and this has been Jake. Over and out. Thank you, and we'll see you next month. Ugh, my back.